They said you wouldn't make it. They laughed behind your back, dismissed your dreams, and counted you out before you even started. Some of them did it openly. Others smiled to your face and whispered doubts the moment you left the room. And I know some part of you remembers every single word, every single glance, every time they said you weren't good enough. That's not a weakness. That's power if you learn how to use it. You don't have to react to them. You don't need to respond on social media or prove your worth with loud declarations. You prove them wrong by showing up every day when no one's watching. You prove them wrong by doing the work. By becoming so good, so consistent, so sharp, that their doubt becomes irrelevant. It's not about revenge, it's about rising so far above the noise that it no longer touches you. That's the kind of success that speaks for itself. You see, the world is designed to test you, not in some abstract way, but in very real, personal moments. The rejection letter, the missed promotion, the closed door, the silent phone. These are not signs that you're finished. They are signals that it's time to level up. Too many people take rejection as a full stop when it's really just a comma, a pause, a breath before the breakthrough. You have to decide. Will you retreat when the world doubts you, or will you turn that resistance into momentum? There's something undeniable about someone who refuses to be denied. When you carry that energy, not arrogance, but quiet conviction, people feel it. They might not like it, they might not support it, but they can't ignore it. That's what proving them wrong really is, becoming impossible to overlook. Because let's face it, no one is going to hand you the life you want. If they did, it wouldn't mean anything. You've got to take it, and not with entitlement, but with relentless action. But here's the truth that too many people miss. Proving them wrong is not about them. It's about unlocking the version of yourself that you were always meant to be. The people who doubted you, they're just background noise. You don't dominate the game by playing against their expectations. You dominate by setting your own, by raising your standards so high that the only competition is who you were yesterday. We're living in a time where mediocrity is comfortable, where showing up is mistaken for commitment. But let me ask you something. When the dust settles, do you want to be remembered as someone who almost did it, who nearly had it, or as someone who went all in, no matter the odds, no matter the doubt, and built something unshakable? I've seen it time and time again. The people who transform industries, who change the world, who lead movements, they were once underestimated too. They were told they weren't ready, that their ideas wouldn't work, that someone else already had the spotlight. But they didn't fold, they didn't flinch. They kept moving quietly, deliberately, until the world had no choice but to notice. So when they say you're not enough, thank them. When they laugh, let them. Because you don't need their permission. You just need your purpose, and once you're locked into that, truly, deeply locked in, no voice outside of you can override the fire inside you. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to shrink so others feel comfortable. You are here to rise. And if that rise makes some people uncomfortable, good. Let it. Because comfort never built greatness. And greatness never needed validation. The scoreboard doesn't lie. The results don't lie. Your work, over time, will speak for you. So instead of wasting energy trying to change their minds, invest it into changing your life. Let your growth be the loudest response. Let your actions be the proof. And when they come back around, because they always do, keep your head down and keep building. Because by then, you'll be too far ahead to hear them anyway. Prove them all wrong. There's a moment in life, and it doesn't come with a big announcement or a flashing light, when you realize you're either going to wake up and take full control, or you're going to get left behind. That moment is now, right now, and most people won't even see it coming. They'll keep coasting, half aware, thinking they've got more time. But time doesn't wait, it never has. We've become too comfortable. Too many people mistake movement for progress. They wake up, go through the motions, check the boxes, but never ask the hard questions. Never dig deep enough to ask, am I really pushing forward, or am I just surviving? And the truth is, surviving is no longer enough. Not in this world. Not in this moment. If you want to stand out, if you want to lead, if you want to dominate, then you have to shake yourself out of comfort, forcefully if necessary. The real danger isn't failure. The real danger is settling. Settling into a life that's good enough when you were capable of something extraordinary. And it starts so quietly, a few shortcuts here, a few delayed goals there. And before you know it, you're stuck in a routine that drains your ambition instead of fueling it. The scariest prison is the one you build yourself, brick by brick, with every compromise you make to avoid discomfort. But what if you saw things differently? What if you recognized comfort not as safety, but as a signal, a warning that you're not growing? Because that's exactly what it is. Growth doesn't come from ease, it comes from tension, from challenge, from pressure. It comes from doing what's hard when no one's watching, and staying locked in long after most people would quit. The clock is ticking, not in a dramatic, cinematic way, but in the quiet, relentless way time always ticks. Every day you sleep on your potential. Someone else is training. Someone else is learning. Someone else is putting in the reps. And when you finally decide to wake up, they're already 10 steps ahead, not because they were smarter, but because they were hungry. Because they moved. This isn't about hustle for the sake of hustle. It's about intention. It's about deciding that you're not going to be passive in your own story. That you're going to stop waiting for someone to hand you the next opportunity, the next title, the next reason to care. You don't need permission to go all in on your own life. You need urgency. Urgency is what separates the average from the elite. The people who make an impact, who break barriers and redefine what's possible, don't wait for ideal conditions. They work with what they have where they are, and they keep moving. They understand that domination doesn't come from comfort. It comes from clarity, effort, and execution, day after day, relentlessly. So ask yourself honestly, are you showing up like someone who's hungry, or someone who's asleep at the wheel? Are you making bold moves, or are you waiting for a wake-up call that's already here? Because if you're hearing this now, let me tell you, this is the call. This is your signal to shake the dust off, silence the doubt, and get back to building. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more someday. Dominate now. What's at stake is bigger than a job, a promotion, or a single moment of success. What's at stake is your legacy, your future, the version of yourself that only becomes real if you refuse to sleepwalk through your potential. That version isn't going to appear magically. You have to fight for it. You have to earn it. And you earn it by stepping into discomfort willingly, again and again. The difference between those who make history and those who are forgotten isn't talent. It's urgency. It's consistency. It's showing up every single day like everything is on the line, because it is. If you want to live a life that commands respect, that creates impact, that builds something real, then wake up. Right now, this is your final warning. No more comfort, no more coasting. Wake up and dominate. Excuses are easy. They always are, and we all have them. reasons why we're not where we want to be, why things didn't go as planned, why we're waiting for the right time. But if you're serious about rising, if you're truly ready to dominate in this world, then you have to recognize excuses for what they are. Poison. Quiet, convincing, comfortable poison. They numb your ambition. They justify procrastination. And worst of all, they lie to you. They convince you that you're doing enough when deep down you know you're not even close. It doesn't matter how valid the excuse might seem. Life will always present obstacles. That's the nature of progress. The question isn't whether life is hard, it's whether you're going to let that hardness shape you or stop you. The difference between the people who talk about success and those who actually achieve it is simple. The successful ones decided that nothing and no one would become a reason not to execute. They made a decision, not once, but daily. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. It's about training your mind to respond with action, not avoidance. When you choose discipline over excuses, you take back control of your direction. And once you own your direction, you own your outcome. Every morning, you have a choice. You can hit snooze on your alarm, your goals, your life, or you can get up and move with intention. It's rarely dramatic. In fact, it's usually quiet. But those small, disciplined decisions compound. And over time, they separate those who rise from those who fall behind. The challenge is that discipline rarely gives you immediate rewards. Excuses feel better in the moment, but that temporary comfort becomes long-term regret, and nothing is heavier to carry than regret. When you decide to live with discipline, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop giving your lesser self a vote in the decisions that define your life. Because every time you give in to an excuse, you reinforce a mindset of limitation. You tell yourself, this is as far as I go. But discipline tells a different story. It says, there's more in me, and when that becomes your inner voice, everything changes. You begin to show up when others quit. You keep going when others stall, not because you're superhuman, but because you made a decision not to depend on emotion or motivation. Those things fade, discipline doesn't. It's built, it's trained, and it's a signal to everyone around you that you can be trusted to lead, to build, to finish. Look around the people we respect, the ones who command results, who break boundaries, who build lasting value. They didn't get there because they had perfect lives. They got there because they refused to be ruled by excuses. They chose effort over ego, responsibility over blame, and consistency over chaos. And they did it when it was hard, when it was thankless, when no one was clapping. That's the type of grit that creates real change. That's what moves companies, communities, and entire industries forward. It's not always flashy. It's rarely glamorous. But it's powerful, quietly powerful, because over time it creates results that no one can ignore. And here's what's important: discipline isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you practice. It starts small, it grows through repetition. One honest conversation with yourself, one decision to push through, one refusal to quit. You build it like a muscle, and like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Eventually, you stop waiting for the perfect mood or the perfect timing. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop handing over your potential to external factors. And instead, you own it. You realize that the life you want is only unlocked through effort, patience, and discipline, not hacks, not luck, not shortcuts. The truth is, no one is coming to save you, and that's not a reason to panic. That's your power. Because once you realize it's on you, everything opens up. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to be rescued. You need to commit fully, completely, without excuse, because on the other side of discipline is freedom, freedom from doubt, freedom from regret, freedom from the life that almost happened. Excuses can't give you that, only discipline can. Choose discipline, dominate everything. You weren't born to be average. And deep down you know it. You were built for more, not just to participate, but to lead, to shape, to elevate everything you touch. The problem is, the world doesn't hand out that space. It doesn't roll out a red carpet and ask you to dominate. You have to claim it. You have to step into your lane with confidence, conviction, and the kind of commitment that most people aren't willing to give. Every industry, every field, every corner of the world is saturated with noise. There are millions of people talking, posting, chasing, but very few truly owning their lane. And ownership doesn't come from showing up once in a while. It comes from mastery, from relentless clarity, from doing the hard, unglamorous work that most others avoid. That's how you separate yourself, not by being louder, but by being undeniable. You dominate your lane when you stop trying to compete with everyone and start competing with yourself. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You need to be exceptional at what you do, so locked in that your work speaks volumes before you say a word. That's how you create momentum that builds on itself. And soon, you're not chasing opportunities, they're chasing you. But let's be honest, most people never get there because they're too distracted. They're watching others, scrolling, comparing, second guessing. That mindset is a trap. It pulls you out of your purpose and into a cycle of reaction. And the truth is, you can't dominate anything while playing defense. You can't lead when you're spending more time watching than building. You have to shut the noise out, tune into what matters, ask yourself, what am I building that's real? What am I leading that's meaningful? What problem am I solving that others are avoiding? That's how you carve your lane. Not with imitation, but with intention. And when you find that lane, that zone where your passion, your skills, and your purpose intersect, you pour everything into it. Because once you do that, once you commit fully, you become a force no one can ignore. But commitment means pressure. It means expectation. The higher you rise, the more the spotlight burns. People will doubt, critique, and test you. And you have two options. You either stand tall in your lane, or you get crushed in it. There's no middle ground anymore. Not if you're serious about impact, not if you're serious about legacy. Dominating your lane means building something that outlasts trends. It means showing up every single day with discipline, drive, and a refusal to lower your standards, even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching, because consistency is what gives you power. It's what creates trust, both in others and in yourself. And here's something most people won't tell you. Domination doesn't mean doing it all. It means doing what matters and doing it at a level that very few can sustain. It's about focus, precision, clarity. You don't need to be everywhere, you need to be exactly where it counts, and you need to own that space so completely that no one questions your value. That's how you build a brand, a legacy, a movement, not with gimmicks, not with shortcuts, but with a standard so high that everything you touch is elevated. When people see your name, your work, your results, they know. They know what it stands for. That's the kind of respect you can't fake, can't borrow, can't beg for. You earn it, and once you earn it, you defend it every single day. This isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than your excuses, better than your fears, better than who you were yesterday. That's the mindset that pushes boundaries. That's what turns goals into outcomes and potential into legacy. If you want to dominate, you don't wait for opportunities, you create them. You don't talk about what you're going to do, you do it. You don't flinch when it gets hard, you lean in. Because deep down, you know this world doesn't remember the ones who almost did it. It remembers the ones who showed up, locked in, and never let up. Dominate your lane or be crushed in it.